we will work with how to respond to an event. Okay, so how you do that, there are certain things like on click, and you will going to call a function or an event handler. Now you need to see, so what you do, you declare a function, add your logic here, and just create an event handler like on click, and just add your function name. Notice how on click it has no parenthesis at the end. Do not call the event handler function, you need just to pass it down. React will call your event handler when the user click the button. Okay, so here we are not calling our event handler, we are just passing the value. Okay, so whenever user do something, React will call it, you will not call, you're not calling it, React will call it on the base of user action. So this is very awesome part. I'm gonna add, so before we go, let's try this as well. So I'm going to go in my button, and here I'm going to add a event handler function. On click of button. Okay, I'm going to alert. Hey, I am clicked. Okay, and I will add that event handler to my variable using on click, which will have a curly braces, and I just need to pass my event handler name to it. Nothing more, nothing less. I'm going to copy this. Okay, let's run this. So this is a React button. If I click, it's showing me an alert, hey, I am clicked. Okay, so this is how you do event handling. So basically you just pass your event handler to whatever, like on click, on change, on key up, or whatever user action you want to add. Create your event handler, add your logic here, and work. Awesome. So there are no parentheses at the end, you do not call the event handler function, you only pass it down. Now we are coming to a very important part, which is updating the screen. Often you want your component to remember some information and display it. For example, maybe you want to count the number of times a button is clicked. To do this, add state to your component. Okay. How do you add state? We're gonna learn about this, how, what is a state means. Like you can see here, managing state, describing the UI. This is a very quick start. So basically they will tell you how to use this, but not the exact, logic or, basic thinking behind it, so that you can start with your work and later on you just keep coming back and learn all these things. So how to do an update of the screen. So basically you create something, a state where you add a value, and whenever user do something, that value can be updated. So here they have created, to do that we use something called useState. useState is a type of a special function which does that. So what it does, it update the state based on your requirement or how you write the logic. That is what the useState work. It's a special type of a function. So in React, if any function start with the name use, it is called hook. We're going to learn about hook as well in our APIs and escape hatch. So it will be a very awesome topic to learn. Now you import useState from React. Now you declare a state variable inside your component. Here you write two constants. One is to have the value of your state, and another is to change the value of your state using set. You will get two things from useState, the current state and the function that lets you update it, the set state. You can give them any names, but the conventional is to call them something like something set something. So when they say you can name it anything, but you should always use some like this format. You add your state name, and for the function set state name. Why? It will help you to keep a record which this function is used for what. First time the button is displayed, the count value will be 0 because you passed 0 to user. When the button is, when you want to change the state, call the set count and pass it to the new value. Clicking the button will increment the counter. React will call your component function again, this time between components. In previous example, we saw that each my button has its own independent count. Like if I click on this one, then this state will improve. If I click on this one, this state will improve. When each button only count from the button changed. So this is my app. We have two buttons. This is count. It has its own state. This has its own state. If this state changes, only this part of button will get updated. However, often you need the component to share data and always update together. To make both buttons component display the same count and update together, we need to move state from individual button upwards to closest component containing all of them. So basically, instead of having their state in this my button component, we have to add their state in my app. To make both my button component display the same count and update together, you will need to move the state from individual button upwards to the closest to them. Now when you click either button, the count in my app will change. We will change the both count in my button. Here how you can express this code. So you have a function, you will set your set count update here. You will add your click handler in your my app and then pass the state down to my app to each button together and share a click handler. Okay. You can pass the information to my button using JSX curly braces just like previously in the image tag. So basically what I'll do, I'll add an attribute and add the name. And on click, again I'll pass this variable. Cool. The information you pass down is called props or property. Property is basically something which you share your data from your parent to your child component. Now my app component contains the count, state and hand click event handler and passes both of them to my props as a props to a button. So main state and change of state is happening in your my app component, whereas the initiation of this is happening in my button. Okay. This, when you clicked on the click button, handle fires. Each button prop set handle click. Okay. Inside my app, so count gonna increment it. Okay. When you click the button on click handle fires, each button on click prop was set to handle click function inside my app. So code inside it runs. That code calls set count 1, incrementing the count state variable. The new count value is passed as a prop to each button. This is called lifting state up. By moving state up, we shared it between the component. Okay, so this is very important part, which is our heading number 3, props. The property which you share with your child component or components from their parent. Now this is being done, this is also called lifting up the state. Oops. Lifting up the state. Let's try this in our app. Okay, I'm gonna open this. So basically all this function has to be shifted to my app component. So I'm gonna just remove this, this app.js. Gonna add it here. Okay, and I'm gonna remove this, gonna add it here, and I'm gonna copy this and gonna add it here. So basically here we are declaring our state. Click set one. Okay, now here I'm going to pass my props. So I'm going to pass as count is equal to clicked. Okay, on clicked equal to, what is the name of the method I have written? 1 second, excuse me. On click of button. Awesome. Here I'm gonna have my count and on click. You know what, let's change this name because we already have, yeah, on clicked. Okay, so I'm gonna add count here, and on click I'm gonna call on clicked. Okay, let's see whether this works or not. Okay, this is funny. Count. Oh yeah, so I have to share the state to both of my buttons. Now I have to. Now if I click one button, both the state will update. If I click this, both the state will update. So like this, you can update the bar. Awesome. So wow, we are done with quick startup. So right now you are equipped to use 80% or able to do the 80% of job required to develop a web application using React if you study quick start. But if you really want to become an advanced level in React, you should study all this other aspect as well, like thinking in React, describe the UI. They have a separate topic just for your component. Then if you close this, then we have adding interactivity, which is responding to events, state memory, state as a snapshot, queuing, managing state. This is awesome. Reacting to the input of the state, escape hatches. So we're going to study all this. We're going to study the API as well. It is under construction, so let's see how much we're going to cover, or we will go to the main application. Thank you so much for joining. It was lovely teaching you all. Bye bye, take care, have a nice day.